Robson Conceição of Brazil in the final of the men's lightweight sub-60 kilo class up against Lázaro Estrada of Cuba. They managed to respectively beat Valentino, the #1 seed in the world. Conceição, he has to settle for a bronze from the semi-finals, and Abdrakhmanov of Kazakhstan was beaten by Estrada. Here's the entire record of the tournament for Conceição: 4 bouts, so he has already boxed 12 rounds, but he won all but one of those. If you look down his scorecard, Vitaly Klitschko and his brother Vitaly, second in the super heavyweights in 1995, beaten by the Russian Alexei Lesin. That shows you just how hard it is to win the AIBA World Championships. Everybody in the world is here, and even the Klitschkos didn't have their way at the World Champs. So our boxers make their way into the ring. Brazil against Cuba. This is the Brazilians' form of late. Round of 16 at the last World Championships, round of 32 at the London Olympics, gold in his Continental Championships. Estrada is the reigning gold medalist from Baku in 2011, a magnificent boxer, and at the Olympic Games took bronze. Very long-armed, rangy fighter. Both of them have their quite unique styles. The judges for today: Lithuania, Belarus, Germany, Denmark and Ireland. Our referee is from Kazakhstan. It is Mr. Rispayev. So we're going to get underway then. Three-minute rounds to decide this men's lightweight sub-60 kilo class World Championship final. In the blue, the Cuban Estrada. In the red, the Brazilian Conceição.
Well, Estrada, the first of 4 Cubans to make their way to the final. Conceição beating Italy's Domenico Valentino yesterday in the semis, and it was a real exhibition. This a clash of 2 very dominant South American countries in the world boxing scene. The Cubans always very well represented here at the AIBA World Championships. Lázaro Estrada beating the Kazakh fighter Abdrakhmanov at the semis. But this is going to be a real samba between these 2 Latin American countries. Conceição fighting southpaw Estrada. Well, already they're getting down to business. Estrada on his toes, trying to draw in Conceição. So they had a little set to in the middle to try and impose themselves on each other. Now the dance begins. Just look at the margins with which these punches slip. Well, the first minute, they laid out their stall. Now they settle down to work.
The Cuban is just so beautifully light on his feet. The Brazilian, though, throws punches from all different angles. Sometimes his hands are down, sometimes they're not.
Estrada working the counter very well. Just using that ring. This is certainly the Cuban's office. Conceição trying to shut down the space. But this is a real high level of World Championship boxing. And the skill sets from both these men, absolutely elite. Both still very composed in this opening round. Serious statements of intent. There's some heat on those punches, as you'd expect at this weight category. exchange right down to the bell.
So that's the end of round one. The bell goes, and already they're having a little bit of gamesmanship, throwing up their fists to say, yes, I won that one. It was a brilliant contest, really. Two slightly differing styles, both very tricky.
Well, great work from both men. This will be very tight indeed. And again, this is a bout that probably won't be enjoyed or scored on for the punches that hit as much as the punches that slip.
Well, the judges saw it a mixed bag there. 10-9, 10-9 to Conceição for two of the judges, A and B. Estrada managing to get the nod from Judge B. Remember, they are randomly selected, the judges. There's 5 judges ringside. Even they do not know which judges are actually going to be scored from the 5. So we're coming out for round number 2 in this men's lightweight 60-kilo class. In the red, Conceição of Brazil. In the blue, it's Estrada of Cuba.
Well, Conceição now settling down to try and show some dominance here. Bringing in that big right hand, and he's catching Estrada. Cheeky left there. A right-left combination that seems to be working from an orthodox boxer. That's a high level of skill. Cuban trying to get round that ring and work some silky skills off the counter. Oh, and he slips some beautiful shots there. Turns his man and comes on with his own shots. Square on. Unusual to see Latin American fighters at this level standing toe-to-toe like that. I suspect one of them will be on the move very soon. Estrada goes for the body now. Needs to bring that guard of Conceição's down. Conceição, cheeky drop of hands, tries to draw in Estrada.
Gum shield out. The Cuban, just in that exchange there, dropped his jaw, and 48 seconds left of round 2. Quick wash and we're back again. So this is cat and mouse at the moment. Still very tight. 2 judges to 1. It was a split decision in the first round. It's hard to call this one again.
Well, you wouldn't want to be on the business end of that right hand of Conceição's. Brings it in. Estrada almost blind to it as he puts his head down and tries to get inside.
Step back.
Showing good form there. Well, they think it's the end of the round. It's just the 10-second marker. Punch in the air from Conceição, but this will be closer than he thinks.
Let's have a little look back at what just happened there. There were some good exchanges in the center of the ring as they went toe-to-toe for a little bit of that before they went back to their cagey, different strategies.
Conceição landing those shots as Estrada came in on the inside. But it was good work from both men. This will be tight, Colin.
Well, in the end, they've all seen it the way of Estrada, and that now means that two judges are 19 apiece, and Judge B has it as 18-20 in favor of the Cuban, who now just has to come out and try and win at least one judge's score, and he will take this match. The Cuban who fights for the Cuba Domadores in the WSB, which kicks off in November. Fabulous fighter. And we have 3 minutes left then of this World Championship bout. Conceição in red, Estrada in blue. Men's lightweight 60-kilo class World Championship final.
Well, the third and final round. This is where the workload will step up. It's a Latin affair as Brazil's Conceição takes on Cuba's Estrada. A really prominent position in the World Championships the Cubans enjoy, as indeed do the Kazakhs. So the hopes and pride of a nation resting on Estrada's.
Conceição there complaining to the referee about the head of Estrada, and that's the first sign of frustration from the Brazilian. Now looks like he's just being outboxed a little bit. Cubans growing in confidence.
Well, Estrada standing off now, starting to send the message to Conceição that he's in control. Conceição has to come forward, has to bring it to the Cuban. The Cuban on his toes and away now, looking to work off the counter. Brings his own right hand in though.
He's looking so confident now, the Cuban. Hands are down, here we go, we can have a big exchange again. Just a minute left of this final round.
Well, Conceição moving forward, gaining ground here in terms of his scoring average. Estrada not working that well when he turns his man and moves off. Warning about heads as they settle down to business.
I think a lot can be said from the coaches. The Cuban coaches looking cool, calm and relaxed and smiling, while as the Brazilian coaches screaming for their man Conceição to get on with it. He's starting to look a little bit fatigued now.
Estrada landing shots right up until the wire.
So they both punch the air. That's the end of 3 3-minute rounds. The Brazilian Conceição does a full lap of the ring as if he's just had the medal put around his neck. But is it the world champion Lázaro Álvarez of Cuba who will hang on to the title? It's very close, Will.
Well, here a lot of leather thrown, but the accuracy was off. And these fighters managed to slip so many of the shots thrown. A lot of them were actually quite wild, but at this level, you can't open up and take a chance.
So our fighters are into the center. Our referee to raise the hand of the world champion in the sub 60 kilo class, the men's lightweight. It's the Cuban. He remains the world champion, Lázaro Estrada, and the Brazilian does a huge big smile there. He's happy with that result. He's had a great bout against an old friend. They know each other well. Both of them walking around, waving to the crowd. Just as good as World Championship boxing gets. The Lithuanian judge, he saw it 28-29 for the Cuban. The Belarusian saw it 27-30, and Lars Broville of Denmark 28-29. In the end, Estrada's round 3